Welcome to Overtime the Podcast, a show dedicated to all things watches, with a special love for microbrands and their affordable range. I'm your host Praka, and some of you might know me as Kinda Average Watches. Join me as we explore new releases, share tips on building your collection, and put in some overtime with hands-on reviews of the latest watches. Whether you're a bit of a pro or you're just getting into the hobby, this podcast will keep you entertained with great stories from the people in the industry, casual conversations, and guest hosts who bring their own unique perspectives. Let's get started. G'day folks, welcome to Overtime the Podcast, proudly sponsored by Watchpoint. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed part one of our conversation with RZE. Part two goes more into the origin of the UTD 8000, how it all came about, speak about their collaboration with Vario, round it out with a fun question on who they would personally pick to collaborate with RZE. And of course, I had to finish up with something interesting. But this something interesting was awesome. There was some really interesting things that came up. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed part two. It was overall part one and part two was fantastic with the team at RZE. So yeah, I'd like to thank RZE again for coming on the podcast. It was awesome. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, talking about stress tests and all that, I'm gonna pivot a little bit. Aside from Valor, obviously you've got all your other different models as well that's come out. The Resolute, the Endeavor. You talked about your Urbanist on your wrist, Andrew, and the Am I saying it right? Aspire.
Espirare.
Aspirare. There we go, Aspirare. And of course, what's on your wrist, Huiy? The UTD 8000. This is awesome. You know, when it first came out, awesome for two reasons. First, you don't see many digital watches out there. You mentioned Fair and Sweet. I know I've seen their stuff, really cool. But something that's digital, something that's, durable, something that is, just looks badass. Yeah, people probably, look at it and go, oh yeah, G-Shock. That's your option. You go get a G-Shock. You get a square G. But it's awesome to see you guys going, yeah, let's do that. We can do that. And of course, when you talk about stress testing, I have to talk about your, I guess, what would you call it? Your marketing, yeah, of you guys dropping these watches. I mean, that is the most, I would say, the most accurate thing. What can damage a watch? You either bang against something or you drop a watch, and you guys tested it, and you kept testing it higher and higher and higher. I don't know how high you actually got up to. So anyway, I'll let you tell me about it. So how'd you decide? Yes, we're gonna get into this digital game, and let's I don't know, come up against G-Shock.
Yeah, I mean, myself and Kirk, talked to Travis. Like Kirk was pitching it to Travis. I think we might have been in 2023 at that time, and he was just casually saying, "Can we do a digital like a G-Shock?" And I think we just kind of laughed about it because, yeah, Andrew had mentioned, like him and I and Kirk, we all kind of have a bond through G-Shocks, and Kirk and I love digitals. Kind of my first watch was like a Timex 8 lap. That was the actual first thing that I got to keep, and it was something like near and dear to me. Kirk has had one as well and had other G-Shocks along the way, and I really liked kind of the original MRGs, the Suuntos, all these kind of things coming up. And so although we look at the UTD now and a lot of people say like, oh, you're coming up off of the G-Shock, it's a lot of Timex, it's a lot of expeditions that have inspired us, and Suuntos and stuff, and like MRGs. And so in talking to Travis, the big fundamental issue was that the module would be the biggest challenge, and that Casio or Timex and these guys, that nobody's really just giving away their digital module so that you can go and do it the same way that like NH35 is available and stuff. There's certainly Chinese modules, but they're meant for fashion watches, or they're meant for kind of clones and things like that. And so when we wanted to talk to the factory about doing something like UltraHex but for digital, and say like, hey, like we'd like to do a watch that like is like a G-Shock, like it can withstand anything, we want to guarantee it for life and so on and so forth. They're like, well, like that's not a thing. Like, well, it very much is. Like it's right over there. And I always compare it to the idea of like small company going to someone and saying like, "Hey, do you mind making me a cassette player?" And it's like the Fio does that, or like we're seeing these Korean brands and stuff like that that are making CD players and stuff, and it's like it wasn't that long ago, but optical lasers and stuff are not as mainstream as they used to be. Just like cassette heads and stuff like that are not available anymore because it's not economically profitable to make these things anymore. So the
Mm,
tooling and all these things have gone away. So like what would be the point of making a robust G-Shock type thing when there is it's like what everyone in the industry says is like, I can get a G-Shock for like $100. It's like, yeah, you can. Go get one. Like I'm aware that you can get one. Cool. Thanks, tips. Like I've been there too. So like it was a real full send exercise of Travis talking to us saying like, do you guys think that there's a market? Do you believe that, we can kind of develop this and if we go all the way down the road and we thought like, yeah, if we can guarantee it for life, we can find ways to build a module and then build on it. And so what we wanted to do was take all of the mechanical watchmaking and case making, all of the stuff that we know from all of our independent or microbrand watch world and push it into the digital space from a different perspective. Because even when you look at the complexity of a basic G-Shock, it's just a resin mold and so on and so forth. And the gap between an MRG versus a full metal versus a regular D5600, it's huge. There's so much room in between.
mm,
And each one is a huge leap, as same as the price point is a huge leap. And people in the watch industry should know, and what collectors and enthusiasts alike is that it's economies of scale. If there was a gazillion people buying MRGs, they would be a lot cheaper, guys. You know that.
for sure.
Like it's just like we all know what the MOQs of things are now, and so it's all about time of the craftsmanship of each craftsman along the way and what level is acceptable. And so when we were talking about, we're like, we want to give people a digital watch experience that is as good, equal to our independent or micro brand quality of watchmaking, which is from a cases standpoint and stuff like that, comparable to entry level luxury. If that's what everyone is calling it, that's what we're trying to go for, right? So, what is entry level luxury in the digital watch world? Full metal or better, right? And so we figured if we can beat full metal pricing in titanium, hard coat it, we'll have a winner. And that's the thing, right? Is like it's all about understanding the market and the cost and stuff. And so everyone now comes back to us is like, how did you do this? Is it like, it's so affordable and stuff. It's like because we're doing it for the people. We're doing it with the expectation that so many people are at this market point that have this pain point, that have this love for nostalgia, that have this aspiration that we do to get into this space and break in and be the underdog that like can come in and say we can give you that thing that's between full metal and everything else and tie it to all these things. Like right now we just released the field grade, so that nods to Timex and expeditions and things like that. And so we're going to keep building on this platform to find ways to tie in the story. And so it was a journey that started a couple of years ago, but it's progressed to this. And one of the things that we focused on is, like you said, with the dropping and stuff like that, is that because we're so new at this, or there it hasn't been so many people who've challenged this, we could go and pursue ISO testing or things like that, but it's money. It's all money. Like it's
Mm,
all costs. It's all marketing to prove to you guys or anybody else that like it's legit. And so when Kirk and I were talking about the marketing and telling Trav like, hey, like, we if this is gonna do the thing that we wanted to do, and instead of just going to factories and asking labs to do it, why don't we just go to 1983 G-Shock ads and take a look at Timex and like takes a licking and keeps on ticking and really like push on it. Like we can do this, we can test these things. Like, and that's how we ended up with the tested by real adventures, like True North tested is like, the G-Shock when we got this one actually, like the one that's on my wrist we'd dropped this one, like I'd thrown it off 2 stories to make sure that we could take it off three, because we knew that 3 stories is the G-Shock test. And before we had the guys at Best Damn EDC yeet it off 30 feet, we wanted to feel pretty confident about it. But the other prototypes when they first came in, because one of the things with low temperature and high temperature is like fade out, or heating, blacking out your screen. Like I took mine and strapped it to my truck when it was -40, and I ripped it on the highway for like hours, and then we checked it hourly for 24 hours to make sure that it was still running in -40 centigrade. And then when I we were testing for heat testing to make sure that the specs were there, like they went into the oven with my skates when I was baking them. Like it's just like it was really true north tested. We're really taking the prototypes and doing the things like, is it the same as what Unimatic is doing? A kudos to Unimatic and what they're doing with their testing and videos for that stuff as well. And is it the same as what Fortis is doing? No, of course not. But it's like it's what we're doing because it's what we have at our team's disposal, and it's like to the limits of like what Andrew said, to the adventurers, to us and our team and us just wanting to make it happen. It's like trust me, bro, it's like -40 over there where you are, or -40 where the other guy's testing it in the Arctic. It's the same. -40 is -40. We can get
Exactly.
it done. So
Exactly.
like
Minus
yeah, and
40.
and
Jeez.
yeah, and so like that was one of the things. And then when we talked about it in terms of development of the module, it's the reason why we can guarantee it for life is because we ended up testing it ourselves and then basically manufacturing it at scale, choosing to say, now that we have it, we're obviously not making 5,000 watches at once. That'll crush us. And I think that that's no secret in the microbrand world as well. Like
For
nobody's
sure.
making 5,000 watches right all at once for a model. But the modules, it was a big send. It's like you got to buy all the modules up front and think about like after the development, testing, and planning for the future of that. And that's why we wanted to make sure that we built on a platform that again is something that we can hopefully someday aspire to pushing to MRG level and increasing complication. I mean, like when we see what is going on with G-Shock for the end of the year with MIP displays and increasing complication in terms of construction and stuff like that, it's inspirational. But G-Shock has a lot of years on us. It's like the one thing that I plead with our audience is that even with the Casio, the 2100 that Andrew referenced earlier, it took them a year to move from that to a half metal jacket, and then to a Bluetooth module, and then a full metal. Like it took them, Casio, years to progress that model to the end. And we have the pressure of what people think happens in the microbrand world. Like now we've delivered a digital and everyone wants X, Y, and Z. It's like we wanted the most accessible entry point that wouldn't be destroyed, that we can guarantee for life. That's, a very difficult task, but be patient with us because we'll get there. But we also need to know where the market is, that we can meet the market in price point and not overstand and hyperextend us in terms of like, I think one of the most common ones, even for the Australia market, would be like, why can't we change the date, like the format? And and
Yep.
it's like, yeah,
I've been
one
asked
does
I've
not.
been asked a lot of this whenever
Yeah, of course. But it's like one does not simply change that. And when we think about programming for the mass market, we're often talking about America for the most part. And it's just a reality. Like we can't cater for everything. Like, yeah, there's niggles for every watch and things like that. But when you're in digital, it's kind of like a no look back scenario. And so for us to kind of like we had compromises we had to make, but it's for the sake of the market and it's for the
Mm,
sake of what we want to achieve in the long run. And so there's no mistake why we called it the UTD 8000. We look forward to the 8010, the 8060, or whatever to reference the G-Shock approach to it. But we're not limited in the same way in that like we do have certain beliefs about how we want to go about it, and it comes from what we've been inspired by in terms of like digital watches and things like that. So like you're seeing different colorways like the field grade, and then you're going to see different finishes like DLC and Cerakote within this year because we've been developing it. We have a roadmap. I'm inspired by sneakers, and so like Jordan 11 drop. So this year we'll have some kind of like holiday open edition kind of thing coming that we'll come yearly at it with. And we want to create that hype cycle of like being able to participate in the brand in a different way. Like people can get excited with one of our pieces that you can gift to someone and they really understand it. They can abuse it, they can beat it. It comes on the elastic, and then if you want to upgrade it to a bracelet, then you get like a full watch wearing experience. And let's say that you already have a Endeavor or maybe you have a Resolute and you don't mind that the finish is mixed up, you still go full titanium. Like you swap the bracelet on there, no problem. So it's kind of something that we want to give people an opportunity to do is just kind of graduate through the brand, move diversely through solar, digital, and mechanical. And like, as long as you don't feel particularly sentimental about quote unquote owning it forever, someone else in our community can own it for you. And that's something that's great. I think that the digital is a great gateway
Mm.
to watches and a great opportunity for us to even show something that's a little bit fun, that's out of the norm, because there's a lot of operators or a lot of law enforcement and stuff like that that they just want something a little bit different and they don't want to spend the bag. Like, the days of wearing a Rolex in the field and, going to whatever war or what and then handing it down to your kids, it's pretty unlikely. It's like, Sangin, people will wear a lot of Sangin, people wear a lot of G-Shock, people wear a lot of Seiko. Maybe on the top levels there's people wearing other things. Christopher Ward is starting to be a thing, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be Rolex anymore. So we want to be that thing. And we're along there with all these other guys that are trying to do that thing. So every little bit that we take out of G-Shock or every little bit that we take out of Timex is something that feeds our families. It keeps the lights on, keeps the adventure going. It's like, something that makes sure that we're able to kind of do what we do and grind it out and be the underdog. Because like again, we're not trying to eat microbrand lunch. We're trying to just crack that mainstream market for people who are looking for a thing that they can have forever, that they can tell the story of and know us as someone who took on the big dogs to be like, yeah, we just do it for the sake of doing it. We'll just like eat stuff over like, parkades and drive over them with trucks and stuff. And one of our campaigns was replicated by another major brand recently this year, and they pushed it and promoted it on
Mm.
social.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and that's something where it's like it's not going unnoticed, and I think that's important to us. It's
Mm,
challenging because we need to
mm,
keep at it to keep the wheels going,
mm,
but certainly we appreciate all the support that we're getting, and I think
mm,
that people like you like recognize we are the underdog in this. This
Mm.
is there's a reason why people aren't doing it because it's not profitable. It's very simple. It's simple math. There's no secrets here. It's tough, and like we want it to be part of our bread and butter, but it needs to hit a terminal mass, and it's something that we every day are working at is like how do we make people understand what we're doing as opposed to just selling them the spec because there just isn't enough people out there that are excited about a spec that can make this dream happen because it is a dream, right? That's what the micro brand independent watch world is. It's
That's
something
it.
where someone gets to be passionate about a thing, and if you're passionate about it and you work at it every day, you just hypothetically be able to make it your living. And I think that that's why we make the Resolute the thing that we nod to is that the Resolute is being determined, doing it with resolve, and it represents something. That's why it's our flagship.
mm,
I'm a big Alan Watts guy, the Western philosopher that brings together kind of what is in our brand as well as Western Buddhism, and it comes together in that we believe that if money were no object, you would do whatever you love and you'll be paid a good wage for it. It's what Andrew does with photography. It's what all of our adventurers do. And it's because there are other people out there who are interested in the same things that you're interested in. It just takes time. And you just have to sharpen the knife and work at it every day and develop that skill set to inspire other people to know that it's possible because you just have to live life. You don't have to find ways to make money to buy things to demonstrate to other people that you know how to make money and that's how you get those things. There are other achievements in life, whether it be skill set or just, working towards a goal to resolve and become a professional that's proficient at something. You don't need an education. You don't go to a Japanese sushi chef that has been making sushi for 50 years and ask them if they have their blue seal or whatever. Like, no, you call them chef, bro. And that's something that I think is important to us and in the brand moving forward as well.
Awesome. The release itself, but also just everything, the culmination of how it got to the release is epic. It's so much more, I must say, is so much more than what I've just seen on Instagram, where it's that drop video. Yes, the drop video is cool, but all this that lead up to it, that's what makes the story. That's what makes the brand. That's what makes the watch. And again, I keep going back to this, and that's the reason why I talk to people like you and Andrew. This is the reason why. So, awesome. Speaking of, drops and new stuff and, collaborations, I think you guys have done, just off the top of my head, you did one with Fratello and most recently you've done one with Vario, a Singaporean microbrand. Ivan is a real great guy. I've had a chat with him from time to time. It's a variation of the trench model, and it's cool. It's different materials and different things, and you got that RZE twist in there. Was it sort of a natural collaboration for RZE? And have you got any other collaborations that you can share with our audience? You don't have to, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think it is a really natural collaboration. Ivan's a really great guy. He's been friends with Travis for a long time. We've met several times at shows as well as in Singapore. It's a natural collaboration because I think, like Andrew mentioned, he's had a trench watch as well. We've all, in our history of enjoying watches at one time or another, came across a trench watch, and the history is unmistakable, obviously, of where it comes from and what it represents. And for RZE, we have a really modern design language and really modern identity, and I think that it wouldn't be reasonable for us to pull out a field watch that is a trench watch of it isn't in the wheelhouse, and it's something where if we wanted to make something like that, we'd have to collaborate. I think that's something we recognize in terms of maintaining the brand DNA and stuff, and so we obviously are seeing these global collaborations or even like within different brands, and I think we make watches for Big Eye Design and stuff like that as well. But in terms of relationships directly, I think that we haven't had an opportunity to work with another watch brand in that capacity. And because Ivan has a signature design language, he's become known for that as well. It made sense to kind of work together to celebrate Singapore's anniversary as well as to celebrate the synergy of our brands and to kind of set a flag in the ground about how we go about collabs is that we want to look at people who are doing great things and acknowledge that and then amplify them. Like we want to do that thing about 10xing them. How do we make that thing better? That's why like when we looked at like the packaging for the UTD 8000, we wanted to collaborate with Toyo Steel to celebrate that and box that in a custom Toyo Steel box. And that's actually the box that we collaborated with for the collaboration with Ivan as well, is to bring that packaging over and extend a collaboration to show people like, hey, we want to showcase all of these other brands that are doing great things when it's not in our wheelhouse. And that's an example all of the things that are great about Ivan's watches, like his case dimension, his design, his case, his bun strap, his wire lugs and stuff. We wanted to retain that because we didn't want to alienate his audience the way that we never want to alienate our audience with any of our SKUs. So we wanted to really just bring him what we thought we did well, which is the titanium, the coating, the modern materials on the dials and stuff, and let his brand sing. That's why you'll see that even though we're marketing it on our social media and stuff like that, where it's being sold on Vario's website because it is really their brand identity, their watch on display, their design language. And so we want to go about collaborations in this way, in that we want to celebrate the things that other people are doing, just like our special edition with Project Forest. It's not a limited edition, it's special edition in that they keep planting trees. We want to keep keep giving them money and celebrate that story. But to go back to the Vario thing, I think that it's so good to look at other people in the industry and see other collabs like that happen as well. We're certainly looking at that in the future for the UTD and stuff like that. Right now we haven't firmed up anything that we can let you know about right away, but I think that the UTD is a platform where we can give a lot of people an opportunity to participate with us, whether it be in fashion or streetwear or hard goods like sporting equipment or teams, things like that. We're exploring all these avenues because there is people who identify with this and maybe working with a watch that's going to be over 1,000 Aussie dollars is going to be too much. Well, yeah, we know. But like if you want to fly the flag with us and have something custom or something like that, like maybe a strap maker and we can showcase our watch still with like, a piece of you guys and stuff like that. And that's what we're talking to people about. And so yeah, I think that you need to get to a certain level of capacity, and I think that I really celebrate people like Ivan and his collections because he's very focused on having a maintained design language of being able to express himself and express other people's desires and things that you can't have because they're really doing that thing too, bringing that Art Deco era and letting people have access to it with an accessible price point, high quality, and things like that. It's the same but different, and it's a real representation of the independent microbrand world where you're able to progress that thing. And he's kind of known for the Versa now, like the reverso look and things like that is it's if you can maintain that identity and stay true to it, there's so many other micro brands or independents that have that ability. I think that Australia has a couple, like Hertz is a good example, is like to be that brave to put it right in the name and be wanting to tell that story for a long time. It's confidence and I think that Alan Watts thing is believing that if you do it longer than anyone else, you'll be known for doing it. It's just about survival in some ways, and that's one of the things is if there's a difference between people who want to grow and people who want to survive and people who have an expectation of just being comfortable. I think any plant, like if it's a house plant, you can have it survive indoors for a very long time. You can give it a little bit of water, give it a little bit of light, and it'll just grow. And maybe it'll have one flower a year, and it'll make it do its thing. But if you put it outside and it's in its natural environment and it has the opportunity to struggle, then it really has the opportunity to thrive. I think that that's where we look at like collaborations like us and Vario and stuff like that, where you're able to like stress test it in an environment that's outside of your own. And then you can see how good it is. Then you can see it grow. Then it can get great. And I think that as we carefully plan collaborations like this, work with the natural people as well as the unnatural people, so long as we don't alienate our audience or theirs, that's where it gets really interesting.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, yeah, I've got a little, stupid smile on my face as I'm hearing explaining that, and yeah, it's awesome. And I love how you gave me something, but didn't quite give me everything. So I like it. I like what you mean in the collaborations. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to some future stuff as well from you guys. Of course, I sort of wanted to wrap up the questioning with something a little bit fun. We just talked about collaborations. You spoke to me, Hui, about how your journey started with a lot of vintage watches, and yourself, Andrew, a little bit different. Maybe it was a Baby G, but if you personally, so not a brand, but you personally could create a collaboration with RZE, what watch would that be? With any, you could collab, you could take any watch in the world, let it be vintage or modern. How would you collaborate? Andrew, I'll go to you first.
So must it be a watch? Can't just be any brand and
I'll give
stuff.
you anything. Go for it. Yeah.
I guess like for me, I love like extreme sports and all that. So I'm just gonna go unconventional, like not vintage or whatsoever watch. I'm just gonna go for a brand. Like if any brands that I feel like I want to collab with, it's Red Bull. Cause Red Bull, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Because I feel like that's what the RZE DNA is. And yes, we have like everyday adventurers that's like, true and tested stuff and all that. But I would love to see like crazy athlete do some crazy stuff with the watch and like, and yeah, yeah. Everyone needs a watch, man. I feel like, yeah. I mean, I have an Apple Watch, but like I just use it for my workout and all that. But yeah, I feel like everyone should like really wear a watch, and in all settings, it would be cool to get a watch in this kind of world and you see someone just timing the stuff and all that. I think like Huiy say that the UTD has that kind of range that's able to do that, because with more complications and stuff and all that, like marathon runners, like people that do like extreme trail running, they can use it to track GPS, like Bluetooth timing and all that. Yeah, so definitely something that it's like, yeah, I think I'm more practical when it comes to this kind of sense of like how to integrate and stuff. But like, yeah, that's probably the brand that I really want to collab with.
It's
Anyone in
it,
Red Bull
it's
is
nat
listening to this, like,
it's natural, right? It's natural.
yeah,
Red Bull is like the ultimate adventure partner, I guess. I mean, doing some crazy stuff. Imagine doing was it the Stratus, that high altitude skydiving with a UTD strap on your wrist, man. That's yeah, yeah, that'd
the
be cool.
Stratus with the Stratus Resolute would be cool.
That too, that too. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I like that. Awesome. What about yourself, we?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that brought me to the brand was the super compressor. And, there's a few things that I think I love in the vintage world. I have a memo box from JLC as well. That's one of the things that I
Nice.
think is iconic. If I obviously this is a pipe dream and it's not going to happen here, but JLC is not going to work with us, I'm sure, but it would be great because one of the things that I would love is I think that a mechanical alarm would be fantastic. It's just the watch enthusiast in me wants to bring that kind of like Vulcane cricket, even if we can get a hand of their movement or something like that, to find a way to modernize that super compressor in a price point that is accessible yet delivers all of the things. Because I think Seiko's, Bellmatics were really accessible, and
Mm.
and I mean like there's quite a few. I think what we would describe as like salaryman watches, right? I
Yep.
think is the best way to describe it. And it's like you could ball, man. You could ball with like some King Seikos
Yep.
and stuff like that, which is still a really great collectible market. But I think it's a big gap between a Bellmatic and a JLC and like a Memovox and a Polaris and things like that. So you guys know kind of how I feel about the G-Shock, and I feel like that about a super compressor that has that. It's a pretty useless spec. It's a pretty nerdy thing. It's like exactly all of the things that are against what we've talked about in this podcast,
But it's
primarily
cool to own
pretty.
one though.
But it's yeah, and I mean, but that's the dream that Travis brought me into this brand on, was that he was gonna make a super compressor in titanium that was scratch resistant and blah blah blah, and that like it's just some guy doing a thing, following his dream. And if I could continue that story within my time in the brand, I think that that's something that's really will be monumentally moving for me. I think that I've already being with Kirk and Andrew and the rest of our team, we're blessed to be able to do the things that we do with the adventurers that we work with and what they've achieved, and even just taking on what we've taken on with the digital and the press we've received, and you sharing your platform with us and things like that. It's tenfold what I would think that any enthusiast deserves. I didn't come at this from a entrepreneurial aspect. Like I was leaving the education industry regardless, and I own I owned another company at the time when I was talking to Travis. I sold aquarium equipment and import aquarium equipment and things like that. So it's like I was definitely on the way out. But to be able to be within my passion and progress the industry, being able to work with Fratello and talk to, people that I've read articles written by for years, like for in the case of Ariel, decades, or, being able to follow James at Hodinkee now and through his journey. And yeah, it's just been really humbling. And so when I think about every time we're looking at talking about kind of collaborations to make that super compressor happen. Like I've talked to people at Fratello about it. I've talked to, friends at Arkin, like Ken at Arkin and stuff
Mm.
like that about it because it's a small community and we all just want to make the dream happen. So that's the next thing, I guess, for me in terms of the watch nerdery.
Amazing. Amazing. I love it. I actually saw a Polaris yesterday and the funny thing is the ring just reminded me of like a school recess bell.
Yeah.
That's I don't know, if you really
No,
put it
it's
closer, it does. It does
for
something.
sure. It's so nostalgic. It's
Yeah.
something mechanical like that. And I mean, you've even hit the nail on the head about that school bell or that feeling or like all the things about watches. It's because it's a machine. It's
Mm.
like we grow up waking up to alarms that were buzzing and things like that. And today you hear that iPhone alarm and it's triggering. It's
Yeah.
like it's just like it's something
Most
different.
stressful thing ever, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the recess bell is liberating. I'm glad you brought it up because it is exactly that. Like, I we all like to believe that like the salary man used that Bellmatic for meetings. It's like, no, he didn't. He used a Rolodex or he used like a
Exactly.
lady at the front or whatever. And it's like if that guy needed to store any real data, he would have bought one of those like Seiko sign tables, Like it's a different guy. And anyways,
That's it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
hobby.
For sure, for sure. You attach so much memories to all these different things. So fantastic, guys. Oh, well, we've had I've had an absolute ball of a time listening to you guys tell me the story of RZE through your lens. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've sort of come to the end of the question side of the podcast. So yes, thank you. Thank you again. Now we've sort of gone to this little segment I call something interesting. Talk about something interesting that's happened or what we've seen, read, heard, whatever, watch related or just anything interesting, whatever you want to talk about. So I'll start with yourself, Andrew. What do you got to share?
Well, yeah, I've recently just finished watching a very nice like Japanese like TV series in Netflix, and the reason why this like series is a bit special is because like it's called Glass Heart. So basically, it's a show about a band and how the band was formed. But I find that the marketing of the whole production it's super interesting because whatever they shot inside the show, like all the actors trained, like they took years to learn and pick up the music instrument skills. So it was live performance while
Wow.
they're like, yeah, while they're like performing and acting at the same time. So yeah, and upon the release of the show, which I absolutely love because it launched on my birthday itself. So I was just like binge watching it and all that. Yeah, they launched a live album as well. So they launched an album as well. And then now like they're on like tours and rock concerts and stuff. So it's super fascinating to like see something like this, like
Yeah.
yeah, to see like creative like being like refined into such level of finesse. And I would say like as a filmmaker, as a photographer, and also as a brand guy, I see that it's like, oh man, like that's like good
That's
cinematic
it.
stuff, like good storyline, good plot, amazing way to launch, and just the hustle and effort, man. And this massive respect to like, like especially like Japanese like
Mm.
creatives and craftsmen and all that on how much they spend their time like just honing it. Yeah, so it's
No,
just amazing, man. I recommend you guys if you guys like just like Japanese rock music and all that, just go and take a yeah.
yeah, awesome. I'll leave, of course, pretty much everything we've spoken about today is always going to be in the show notes. Like, yeah, awesome. How cool is that? They're on tour and it's a TV show. That
Yeah,
is
and there's
cool.
a behind the scenes like documentary of like how it the making of, and literally like they all of them were playing like, and it's not like simple notes and all that. It's like advanced, like those like really cool like Japanese rock band where there's a lot of riffs in the guitars and like just constant like high tempo drum beats and stuff. And yeah, the lead singer and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's one of the things that I actually enjoyed like in 2025 in the midst of all the crazy form of entertainment media is coming out. And all that. That was like just a nice like it's just different, man. I watched that. It's like, oh yeah, I'm happy not watching any other news shows for the rest of the year
Fair
on
enough. Fair
that.
enough. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, we'll just check it out, and I myself will check it out as well. Thank you. Hui, what's your something interesting?
My something interesting, I think, is like the rabbit hole that I'm down right now in terms of like thinking about modding an iPod. I think it's like it's one of the things that I think is just kind of like being nostalgic about, and we're seeing it now is like this whole Y2K vibe and the resurgence of like kind of people finding different ways to unplug, and I think that that's really built into the whole watch thing. We all think that we're unplugging with watches and the mechanical thing, but I like how far are we really from that, right? And so just over the last year, even like I've just been like not streaming and not consuming media and trying to kind of be on our own path of like focused on creating something for ourselves and pulling from different inspirations and being careful not to kind of like look at other watch brands and what they're doing. But
Mm,
that aspect of it has also like really taken me to the point of like curating my own media and like thinking about the feelings, like you said, like the recess bell and stuff. And taking old tech and being able to like when I'm on the road and stuff, I find it frustrating to like have to like when you get Spotify and you have to like preload your playlist or download your like songs or it feeds you like Spotify radio and it's just like kind of like even though you don't like those songs, it keeps feeding it to you. And I something just like really about curating a cassette or a CD or a playlist is just kind of lost now. Like you don't listen to
mm,
a CD front to back or anything like that. And so yeah, in the last little bit, if you guys are just bored one day, go and check it out. Like iPod prices are spiking because a lot of people are going back and trying to like get off the subscriptions and realizing that you can get like lost lists nearly and like there's lots of cool stuff that you can do now to kind of like go back to that. There's also some Chinese brands like Chi-Fi is kind of like a really crazy thing right now if you're into like audio and stuff like that. So yeah, just something that I would encourage anybody who's into audio to check out right now is like if you're looking for like new IEMs or open headphones and stuff like I think we just saw with Apple and the like big progress that they've made in terms of the AirPods and stuff. It's like, well, I mean like that also means that if you really like hi-fi high quality sound and stuff, you can start pairing that backwards with like different technologies. I went on this real like hunt a little while ago to kind of bring my cassette player collection back. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with the fact that like the PSP technology is built on the mini disc technology, which is the audio technology prior, which is kind of like melds like a mini CD with a floppy disk and stuff. That's like deep nerdery, so I'm just gonna leave that for
mm.
all of your audience because I think people who like watches like those things.
Oh
So
yeah.
go do that thing.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
awesome. I'm not a big like audiophile myself. I do like, listen to music and all that kind of stuff. And I've had, I think I had an iPod Nano and, I used to have, Creative, which was a brand. I don't know if you had a Creative. It's like, I used to have like a, pretty big
Zen.
MP
Yeah, there's a
Zen.
creative Zen. Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly what I had, a Creative Zen and Sony's different versions of them and all. And yeah, I love that actually. Like you said, curating your own playlists, mixtapes, making your own mixtapes. Yeah, that was fun. It was awesome. Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. There's one of our listeners is a big audiophile, and he's actually based in Canada as well, Montreal. So I'm sure he's going to be loving this section, hearing you talk about it.
It's one of the things I think about music, and I like just like Andrew was talking about. I guess it ties to what his piece was too, and that like music is often how you tie to memories and stuff. And I think we kind of are losing sight of how we consume music as well and how we appreciate it. Is like, yeah, this is something that I read, and I'll tie to this, and you guys maybe can. I don't know if you'll be able to find it, but there's some research around kind of like the top 40 hits and that during times of potential recession or recession the type of music changes that mainstreams there's a lot more nostalgic dance music and stuff like that like they say I do like Chappelle Roan to be fair and I do think that she's a talented musician and artist and but that sound is a nostalgic sound and somebody referenced this and there's research is that the last recession the nostalgic sound that was of that time was actually Kesha. and Kesha was the kind of the graduation of the nostalgic sound of what Britney Spears and the other previous pop time was. And so if you look at the type of music like now with Chappelle Roan or like what's his name, Benson Boone and stuff like that, is that this kind of dreamy, like everything's okay, kind of poppy, dancey music is kind of supposed to make us feel a certain way, and there will be people 30 years from now that will be nostalgic for these songs. So I think one of the things that hits right now for me is that like everyone's talking about band tees and Nirvana tees at H&M and stuff like that. And we can all just like take a really careful look at ourselves and think of like when I was a kid, the cool kids were the kids that kind of like had parents who were actual hippies that saw people with tie-dye shirts. They're like, that guy's not a hippie. Yeah, back in my day. It's like, and then there's obviously kids who were emulating that, but they were pretty cool, but they were wearing baggy jeans with tie-dye shirts, which wouldn't have been the thing, right? And now we're seeing it with millennial kids kind of like taking things and you're like, whoa, that is not how that was worn back then. Like it wasn't even cool when we did it, and now we're that boomer. Like it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like it's so easy to judge. But the full circle part of this going back to watches is that if I just pretend I'm an old head and I tell everyone about back in my day when I bought my Cartier, it was $350. Like, or when I was collecting, it was SKX for $150 or nothing. Like, guys, enough.
Yeah.
Kids will never experience any of that. The modern collector is like, the kid that is wearing like flood pants with like a tight crop top. It's like, yeah, neither of those things were cool. Neither of the, and they're definitely not cool together. But you know what? The fact that that kid can rock it, bless.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
sit up, shut up, and like sit down, shut up, and like don't be telling people to get off your lawn. Just let kids live their life. Because like the fact that they're putting on clothes and going outside to touch grass as opposed to like changing up their Roblox avatar, dog.
Exactly.
Just
Oh
like
man, that's a
over it.
win, man. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
like
think like
and
I have never realized this until I have a kid, and then like that whole perspective, like because like Hui and Trev always tell me this is like, yeah, some at some point your priorities change, and like what you aspire to become, it's not about what you want anymore. Is to have like high hopes for the
Mm.
younger generation, like your future generation, to like really touch grass and not like like do whatsoever and all that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I feel you there. Yeah, I mean, I got two kids myself, and yeah, I'm just every time they're out there playing on the grass and playing with the yeah, trying to climb the tree or doing something, running around doing all that. I love it. I love seeing all that. And I must just say, going back to the whole recession pop song thing, that just blew my mind just then. I don't know if you realize I had my hand in my mouth the whole time. I was like, what? And I did find a great Substack article about it, so I'm going to chuck it in the show notes. Maybe it's not the same one that you're referencing, but please, it blew my mind.
yeah, same wheelhouse. I mean, it's a lot of stuff is coming up in terms of economics and stuff like that. So I think that everybody who's feeling like things are not fine, just remind people everything's fine, guys. Everything, it's all cyclical, just like watches. It'll be back, Like if you just because you think that the Rolex 1908 sucks, you're wrong. There's people who love it.
That's it. That's it. Yes, I know. It's just hard to get away with it now that everything is in your face and constantly 24/7. You can't see what I'm doing, audience, but I'm, flicking my finger to, up in the thing, scrolling up, and you sort of force fed all this stuff. And yeah, but yeah, take a breath, take a breather. It's all going to be okay. I hope so. That's the optimism, the optimist in me coming out. And speaking of the optimist in me, I'll go on to my something interesting. It's a book. It's a book that I am currently reading that you guys can't see because it's blurring out, but it's called The Science of Happiness: 7 Lessons for Living Well. I've only just started, so I can't really go into how I'm liking it, but so far I'm enjoying it. And I picked this up because yeah, just because of all like everything we just talked about, sometimes it feels like very doom and gloom. Sometimes it feels like there's, yeah, and sometimes you just want a little bit of, hey, it's not all that bad, and this is great. This is awesome, and it's sort of it's yeah, like I said, 7 things it's going to present to you about yeah, it's we're how to be happy, I guess. In a not really like a hippie sort of way, but yeah, science to it. There's a science to it, and this person is worked in neuroscience and psychology, developmental psychology, so child psychology, and then into adults as well. So anyway, I like it. I'm not too far into it, but yeah, hopefully in a couple of weeks I'm finished and I can tell you all about it. Cool. All right. Well, that's it. Come to the end of the episode. It's been a long one, but it's been an awesome one, and I really thank you guys for yeah for blessing our audience with everything that you've shared with today. So I really appreciate it.
No, pleasure is ours, man. Like, thank you for having us. Obviously, like we just here share. I always like tell people this, like boys at RZE, we're just like like just dreamers and just people that we are just passionate people that it's like so passionate that like yeah, sometimes people call us crazy or whatever. Yeah, we just but yeah, we're just passionate people that love watches and also same time like we just want like do things that we love and just live our life and all that, man. Yeah, so but it's good. Like thanks for having us on to share about our passion and yeah things we really love doing.
Of course. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we yourself, thank you so much, mate.
No, thank you. I mean, you sharing your platform is really appreciated, and the fact that you're dedicated to doing this and building the community. I mean, that's the important part, is that thank you and every one of your listeners for being a part of the community, because the community is really important. As much as I joke and talk about the nerdery and stuff, it's you guys that make it happen. That's what we're really here for, is that the foundation is this audience.
Mm,
But I think it's quick for us to lose sight of the fact that we can't just make stuff for the watch audience, and that like we certainly don't want to alienate anyone, but we want to show people that to get longevity, to be one of these brands, we have to ask those same difficult questions that we ask of many of these big brands. And it's what are you doing and why are you doing that? Like, why are we seeing a 1908? Why are we seeing a gold Black Bay? Why are we seeing these things? And I think
mm,
that it's great for everyone to have these conversations. I'm really excited about Watch Crunch and excited about like Watch You Seek and its progression, and Instagram and Reddit and stuff. Is like the more circles there are that are having these questions being asked, and as the old guard changes and the watch market matures, people don't even discover watches through John Mayer talking watches on Hodinkee anymore. That was a lifetime ago. People don't
Mm.
even know who John Mayer is. Like it's like, like it's hard to believe, but the reality is that like I appreciate you having your platform, because there will be a lot of people, maybe especially in Australia, that they learn about watches through you. So thank you for doing what you do and sharing your passion and committing your time to connecting with the community and the brands that you believe in, because I think that that gives people a more well-rounded view than the algorithm.
I appreciate it. Appreciate those kind words. That's it. Come to the end of the episode. Thank you. Thank you so much. And if there's nothing else, we'll leave it right there. Cheers. Thank you for listening to Overtime the podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. You can find us on our Instagram at Overtime the Podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, or flick me an email on overtimethepod@gmail.com. I appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics that you would like the podcast to cover in the future, please hit us up. Until next time.